This week we're going to be covering geometry, specifically area and circumference. So for this first worksheet, it's for each of the following shapes. We're going to identify the shape and record the formula for finding the area of the shape in the space provided. You can find these formulas on your mathematics chart. So this first shape is called a rhombus, but according to our mathematics chart, there's no rhombus listed. This would be a parallelogram because opposite sides are parallel. So we're going to use the formula for a parallelogram. And according to our mathematics chart, that formula is area equals base times height. The next shape is a rectangle, and rectangle is listed on our mathematics chart, but it's also a parallelogram, and that would be the same formula, area equals base times height. The next shape is a trapezoid, and a trapezoid is area equals 1/2 base 1 plus base 2 times the height. And the bases are the sides that are parallel to each other. It doesn't matter which one you use as the base 1 and the base 2, but you need to add both bases together. Both parallel sides you add together. The next shape is a circle. And the formula for area of a circle is pi times radius squared. And pi is that little symbol. It's got a little wave at the top and two lines underneath it, like little legs. The next shape is a triangle. And the formula for a triangle is area equals 1/2 base times height, because if we put two triangles together, they would make a parallelogram. So a triangle is half of a parallelogram. Therefore, the formula is 1/2 base times height. The next shape is kind of curved. It's part of a circle. Well, how much of a circle is it? It's not a half of a circle. It's half of a circle, which is 1/4. And 1/4 would be 1/4. So this is a quarter circle. So it's going to be the same formula that we used for circle, but we have to multiply times 1/4. So 1/4 times pi times radius squared. Or you could use pi times radius squared divided by 1/4. Divided by 4. Either one of those formulas would find you a quarter circle. That one is not listed on our formula sheet. Now let's do an example. This figure is called a composite drawing. Landon used a semicircle, a rectangle, and a right triangle to form the figure shown. What is the area of the figure in square centimeters? So I need to find the area of a half circle plus the area of a rectangle plus the area of a triangle. We always want to start with our formulas. So the formula for a circle we just wrote was pi times radius squared. And since this is a half a circle, we want to multiply times a half. Plus the rectangle, which is base times height, plus the triangle, which is 1/2 base times height. Now let's look at the figure for just a minute. This 4 over here is probably going to represent the 4 over here. And we know if this much is 6, and from here to here is 10, how much does that leave for the bottom of the triangle? So 10 minus 6 would leave 4. Now let's see if we can plug some of those numbers into the formulas. 1/2 times the number we use for pi is 3.14 times the radius of the circle. Remember, radius only goes halfway across the circle. So if all the way across was 4, the radius would be half of 4, which is 2. So this will be 2 squared. Plus the base of the rectangle is 6, and the height is 4. Plus the triangle, 1/2, times the base of the triangle is 4, and the height of the triangle is also 4. Then we just go back and work it. Well, I can cancel that 2, but I can't cancel it with the 2 squared. I have to work out the exponent part first. So 2 squared makes 4. Now I can cancel the 2 with the 4. 4 divided by 2 makes 2. So then I'm left with 3.14 times 2. 3.14 times 2 makes 6.28. All I did was multiply 2 times each one of those numbers, and I can kind of do that in my head, because 3 times 2 is 6, 1 times 2 is 2, and 4 times 2 is 8. The next part is 6 times 4, which is 24, plus I can cancel the 2 with the 4. 2 divided by 2 is 1, 4 divided by 2 is 2. So that leaves for the triangle just 2 times 4, which is 8. Then we add all of those together. 6.28 plus 24 plus 8. Remember, you'll want to line up the decimals. So the total is 38.28, and this was centimeters squared. On the next page, we're talking about circles. And we did just talk about diameter and radius. Remember from the story Circumference, Lady Di of Amateur, that was the mom. Diameter is the big measurement. It goes all the way across the circle. And radius was the little boy in the story. He went halfway. Radius goes halfway. He was half the height of his mom. And the formulas that use this are circumference and area. According to our mathematics chart, the formula for circumference is either pi times diameter or 2 times pi times radius. Remember, it takes 2 radius together to make a diameter. So this is just 2 times radius to get the diameter. The other formula that uses this is area. And area is pi times radius squared. And you're going to be expected to kind of manipulate those formulas. So this first fill in the blank is talking about this formula right here. How can I get pi by itself? Remember how we solve equations? To get something alone, we have to do the opposite. Well, this side right here is multiplying pi times diameter. The opposite of multiplying would be dividing. So we'd have to divide by diameter, and that would get pi by itself. So on the other side, I have circumference divided by diameter. So that's what goes in the blank. Circumference divided by diameter equals 3.14159. Remember how pi goes on forever? Those are the first 5 digits of pi. The next fill in the blank is blank times pi equals the area of a, well, we kind of know it's going to be area of a circle. That's what we're talking about. So what do we multiply pi times to get area of a circle? That would be this formula. Radius squared means radius times radius. You multiply it times itself. Okay, the next fill in the blank says 2 times something times pi is going to be blank of a circle. Well, what do we have? Which formula shows 2 times pi times something else? That would be this one here. So 2 times, what's the number missing? Radius. So 2 times radius times pi equals the circumference of a circle. The last fill in the blank is diameter times something equals the blank of a circle. Well, the only formula that uses diameter is that very top one that I wrote. So diameter times pi, and you can write the symbol, equals the circumference of a circle. Now let's do a few practice questions together that use these different formulas for circumference and area. Number 1 says Jackson's construction company constructs a set of steps for a front porch. The side view of this plan is shown below. If each step has the same length and height, what is the area of the view shown in the plans? So these little marks on there mean something. They're not just there to be decoration. See how this has one mark and this one also has one mark? Each time you see one mark, it represents that number, whatever number they label it with. So this is a 5. That means this is 5, this is 5, and this is 5. Just like over here by the 4, there's 2 marks. So everywhere you see 2 marks, it's going to represent that 4. So each step is 4 feet tall. That means that this little section right here is 5 feet by 4 feet. And remember, we're doing the area of a rectangle, which is base times height. So this would be 5 times 4. But the next one is just a little bit taller. So it's 4 feet here and 4 feet here. That makes the height 8. So this one is 5 times 8. And the next step is going to be 4 more feet taller. So he's not 8 feet tall, but 12 feet tall. So this rectangle would be 5 times 12. And again, the next one is 4 feet tall. So 12 plus 4 makes 16. This last step is 5 by 16. So now we need to find out what 5 times 16, 5 plus 12, 5 plus 8, and 5 times 4 is, and add all of those answers together. Well, 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 8 is 40. 5 times 12 is 60. And then you may not know what 5 times 16 is, but I kind of see a pattern. Every time we added 20 more square feet. So this one is 80. And if we add all of those together, $200 square feet. Number 2 says use the ruler provided to measure the dimensions of the figure below to the nearest centimeter. What is the area of the shaded rectangles of the figure? So we're trying to find the area of, they all look like rectangles, so the formula we'll use is base times height. And it looks like there's 4 little rectangles and 1 big rectangle. It says to use the ruler provided. Remember, that's your mathematics chart. Your mathematics chart includes a ruler on the side. Now, the side I'm looking at says inches, and our problem said to use the centimeters. So I need to turn the page over and use the centimeter side. It says to the nearest centimeter, so that means we're going to measure it according to which one of these whole numbers it is closest to. So now let's go back and let's measure each one of these shaded rectangles. So I'm going to need to measure the base of the little rectangles. And when I measured, I got 2. And the height is also 2. Then I need to measure the base of the big rectangle, which is 3. And the height is also 3. So these are not just rectangles, they are squares. So I have 4 that are 2 by 2 and 1 that is 3 by 3. Well, 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 times 4 is 16, plus 3 times 3, which is 9. And 16 plus 9 makes 25, so that's 25 centimeters squared. Number 3, the Quarter Circle Advertising Company markets different designs for customers. Mr. Ortiz chooses the ad design shown below. The shaded area of the design represents the part of the ad that is for artwork. How many square inches of advertising space does Mr. Ortiz have for artwork? So we're trying to find just the shaded area. Well, that looks like a quarter circle. Remember, our formula for a quarter circle is 1/4 the area of a circle, which is pi, times radius squared. And we're going to need to take out the area of this rectangle right here. So minus base times height, because the area of a rectangle is base times height. Now let's plug in some of the numbers. 1/4 times the number you're supposed to use for pi is usually 3.14 times radius squared. Well, the radius of this circle would be halfway, which is 5, because that's all they show is half of the diameter, which is 5. So 5 squared minus the base of the rectangle, which is 4.75, times the height of the rectangle, which is 2. Remember, first we have to do the square, so it's 5 times 5, which is 25. And then if you see something we could cancel, we could do that now, but I don't see any numbers that would divide by 4 evenly. So I'm going to just have to go ahead and work it out. 3.14 times 25. When I work that out, I get 78.50. So the quarter circle area is 78.50. No, wait, I left something out. I didn't divide by 4. So I need to divide that number by 4. So the area of the quarter circle is actually 19.625. Then I have to subtract the area of that rectangle. And I know we're kind of running out of room. 4.75 times 2 . 9.50, and then I need to subtract that from the circle. Remember to line up your decimals. And we get 10.125. Well, just in case they want that as a fraction, what is 10.125? Remember, 0.125, what fraction would that be? 10 and 1/8. That was one that you were supposed to memorize. So the area is 10 and 1/8 inches. Number 4. The net of a square pyramid and its dimensions are shown in the diagram. What is the total surface area of the pyramid in square feet? So I see 4 triangles that are all the same. We're going to need to find the area. And I see 1 square, and we're going to need to find the area. And then we add those two together. Okay, the formula for a triangle is going to be 4, because there's 4 of them, times 1/2 times base times height, plus the area of the square, which is base times height. If we plug in the numbers, 4 times, what's the base of the triangles? Well, since it's a square, all of the sides are 12, so the base of the triangle is 12. And the height of the triangle always has to be where that right angle is. See the right angle? It's marked by a little square. Right there. So this is the height. This is extra information that they're trying to confuse you with. So the height of the triangle is 8. Plus the base of the square is 12, and since it's a square, that means that all the sides are 12, so 12 times 12. Well, 12 times 12 is 144. Plus the other side, and we can cancel 1/2. We can cancel the 2 and maybe the 12. And we're left with 4 times 6 times 8. $192. And then we need to add those together. So 192 plus 144 336 feet square. Number 5, the net of a rectangular prism is shown below. What is the lateral surface area of the prism? Lateral means we don't include the bases. Well, I'm going to say that the bases are these little tabs sticking out. So we just want the area of the rest of it. They're all rectangles, so we need the area of a rectangle, which is base times height. Well, the base of this top one is 7. And what would be the height? Right here it tells me the height is 4, so this is probably 7 times 4. And this one over here is also 7 times 4. They're the same. It's the back and the front, and the back and the front of a rectangle are always the same. And then we need this little rectangle. Base is 7 because it's the same as the top, times 1. And that rectangle is going to be the same as this one on the very bottom. So now we just need to work all those out and add them up. +28 plus 7 plus 28 plus 7. That equals 70, and it's meters squared. Number 6. A circular railroad crossing sign has a diameter of 30 inches. What's the area of the sign in square inches? So the formula for area of a circle is pi times radius squared. And they said the diameter is 30. Well, diameter goes all the way across. So if the diameter is 30, half of 30 would be 15. So the radius is 15, and we need to find the square times pi, which is 3.14. So first let's do the exponent. 15 times 15. $225. So this is 225 times 3.14. So now we have two 3-digit numbers to multiply together. Be real careful. Remember, when you're finished with a number, you put down a 0. So when you're finished with the second number, you put down 2 zeros. And then you should have 3 rows of numbers to line up and add. And the decimal goes 2 spaces over. So the area of this sign is 706.50 or 706.5 inches squared. Number 7. The park modeled below consists of a rectangle area and 2 semicircular areas. The area of the rectangular part of this park is 60,000 square yards. What is the approximate distance along the perimeter of this park? Perimeter is how far around. Well, I know this much is 300, so this much is probably also 300. What I don't know is this part right here, Well, those are two semicircles. If I put them together, they'd make a whole circle. What I'm trying to find is the perimeter of the circle so I can add it to the other two numbers. Well, circumference formula would be pi times diameter. So I'm going to need the diameter measurement, which goes across the circle, and it doesn't tell me what that is. I don't know. I do know that that'll be the same as the height for the rectangle, but all they told me about the rectangle was that the area equaled 60,000 square yards. Well, formula for area is base times height. If the area is 60,000 and the base of that rectangle is 300, if I divide by 300, I can figure out the height. $600 divided by 3 would make 200. So the height is 200. And the height is the same as the diameter. Okay, so now I know the diameter and I can plug it into the formula. Pi times 200. Well, I know if I multiply by a number that has zeros on the end, I get 2 zeros. And then 2 times 4 is 8, 2 times 2 is 2, 2 times 3 is 6. And my decimal needs to go 2 spaces over. So now I know the circumference of the circle is 628. That's not the answer. I just know that this squiggly part here that I was looking for is 628. I still need to add that to the straight section. So 628 plus 300 plus 300. That'll give me the perimeter of the entire park, which is 1,228 yards.